already started.
Let me just see what is it.
So, with the power of CSS3 animations, we have quite good capabilities on tablets and mobiles.
Exactly.
If we combine that with getting the touch events, we can do far more than simply creating web pages. Basically, we can give a very native feel to the applications that we develop, and that's what has been happening when people wrap a web page into a native app. So at Mobstack, while we were making touch site, we decided to do that. We decided to explore what can be done in a tablet device. So I'll just walk you through what we did. So most of you should have seen plugin site. This is plugged in on tablet that is powered by Mobstack. Now all of these are basically touch events that are being captured, and with that we use CSS3 animations to provide a very native feel to the whole tablet site. Let me get back to that. Okay, so this presentation has been made using Impress.js library. How many of you have heard of that? Okay. Yeah, quite a few. So this presentation itself is touch friendly. I'm running it through an iPad. And so yeah, let's look at that code. So what they are doing is they're listening to this touch start event and then doing something with that, capturing that event and trying to capture my tabs to go on to next slide, previous slide, whatever. So these are all the touch events that have been defined, that are defined in Safari, and the last two events are specific to Mozilla. So we have touch start, touch move, touch end, and a touch cancel. So the first three should be obvious, that touch start is when your finger touches the device. Touch move is as you move it along the surface of the tablet or mobile. Touch end is when you basically remove the finger. And touch cancel is when you basically, when the event is cancelled by the browser. Something happened and that event is no longer valid. And touch enter and touch leave are specific to Mozilla, that they allow you to check whether the finger has entered a div element or not. And touch leave is its counterpart, whether when you leave that element. Yeah, so what actually gets passed to these events? So each of these events gets a touch list object, and a touch list object basically contains multiple touch objects, with each of the touch object corresponding to one finger that is touching the device, one finger or stylus. Now the touch object is passed with these parameters, which basically gives the position where the finger is touching the device relative to different things. Client X, client Y is relative to Windows viewport. Page X, page Y is in page coordinates. Screen X, screen Y is for the whole screen, independent of the browser and everything. Then you also get the target, which is the target element in the DOM. Now, yeah, let's get back to the code that we saw in this. Yeah, so now this should make more sense. That does start is the event that these guys have registered. Then in that event, they are looking for the touches, which is a touch list object for all the current touches that we have, and they are checking that it should only be one. So if I actually use two fingers on this becomes a bit free floating. They are not using multiple fingers. if they're checking for one finger, and then for that finger they're looking at the client X, where on the device I'm actually pointing it. Do you have any questions till now? Okay. So now what about gestures? Gestures is also mostly the same thing. You have pinch, zoom and rotate. They get passed as different events. The different events being gesture start, gesture change and gesture end. Now each gesture start, gesture change and gesture end event again gets a gesture object, very much like the touch event had. So you get a rotation if you are basically trying to rotate the whole thing, or you get a scale if you are trying to pinch or zoom. So kind of like how Google Maps does it. Google Maps or any Maps app, when you try to rotate, it rotates with your fingers. Or if you try to scale or zoom out. Now, what happens when we start putting two fingers on a tablet or mobile device? So first you get a touch start for the first finger that touched the device. Then you get a gesture start as soon as the second finger touches the device. Then you have a touch start for the second finger. So even if you are not using a gesture start event, you are still getting the touch start with all the parameters. So if you basically want to capture a two finger swipe, you can completely ignore gesture start or gesture change. Then after touch start, if you start doing something, if you start pinch, zoom or rotate, you get a gesture change event, and then the touch move, which tells you that the fingers are moving and what are their current positions. As soon as you lift one of the two fingers, you'll get a gesture end, and followed by a touch end for that finger, and then the touch end as soon as you lift the other finger. So you can use gesture start, gesture change, gesture end just for rotation and scaling. And if you don't want that but want some custom swipe or anything involving multiple fingers, you can have up to 3 fingers that you can capture using touch start or using touch events. So so what we did, because we needed some custom implementation, which basically meant that we wanted to capture multiple fingers touching the device, as well as we wanted to provide more gesture control and abstract the functionality in such a manner that right now what you get is the current position for each finger. What I want is how much the fingers have moved, how much I have scaled in the gesture, or how many fingers are there at a time. Now, so basically our motivation was to provide animations, and we wanted to provide different animations with different number of fingers that are touching. And I don't always want to know where each of the fingers is. I just want to know how much they are moving, what properties this particular swipe or whatever has. And so we created this plugin. Basically we took White Touch, which was meant for just one finger touch, and we extended that to allow multi-finger touch and gestures. So how to use it is, it's quite simple, that it takes some parameters which have these defaults. So you have a MoveX, MoveY, which is the minimum number of pixels that a finger should move before it starts giving you a move event. Or you you have prevent default, which will basically stop bubbling up the event. You have allow diagonal, which stops you from having a diagonal move. So what this does is it gives you a abstracted move event in terms of wipe left, wipe right, wipe up, down. If you allow diagonal, it will, as we'll see later, it will give you wipe up left, wipe up to right, wipe down left, wipe down right, all those events. Then there is tap to click, which if it is set to true, it will bubble up one click event after it is done processing. So if you are capturing touch events, then the browser, you are capturing touch events and you are also preventing default. But then you want to also handle href tags. You want the click events there, or on some divs that you want clickable. So in that case, tap to click works for you. Yeah. So these are the basic wipe events, in which default is nothing is specified, but you specify a function there which gets passed the result argument. A result is it contains two arrays: start x and start y, and current x and current y. So when in that result you get the starting position of your finger and the current position. And these are all similar: wipe up left, wipe down left, up right, down right. Wipe move is as you are moving the finger. Wipe left, wipe up, these are all passed when you release the finger, when the event is done. Wipe move is as you are doing something. So wipe move is common for all of the above. It will be passed irrespective of whether you are doing a left swipe, right swipe. And then the gesture events are mostly in line with what the browser itself gives us. It's a gesture start, gesture change, gesture end. And you can specify whether you want wipe events with gesture or not. Only if you specify wipe with gesture true, then you will get gesture events. Otherwise, there will be no gesture events. So, do you guys have any questions on this? Or since we have around some time, I can give a demo of how to add multiple touches to this itself.
Does this only work for mobile devices, or like can we have for Mac have multi-devices?
Basically, it will work on. It depends on the browser actually. So if the browser supports these events, like Microsoft devices won't be able to support this because they have a pointer event. But like in the jQuery plugin that we have, we plan to add that as soon as it becomes a specification. And
it's not a W3 specification now.
no, for now it is not. The pointer specification that Microsoft has.
And in certain process, the gesture will have some other actions. For instance, in mobile Chrome,
Yeah.
A swiping left is a tab switching action.
Yeah. So
it won't conflict with both of this.
no. So in mobile Chrome, I can show it to you on my phone. The same thing. So what happens is when you start at the edge of the screen, then it's a tab switch. But if you are somewhere within the browser window and you do a swipe, then it becomes an event to the DOM.
So if I want to implement something from the other than, like, can I prevent the default Chrome behavior from acting?
No.
No.
So right now, Chrome, Safari, and Mozilla have this support. So yeah, none of the basically Internet Explorer is the major one, which has a different specification, and we have to integrate that into the plugin.
Okay, no, you are talking about a desktop browser or mobile browsers?
Mobile browsers,
Mobile.
mostly mobile browsers. Yeah, for now it will not work on Windows phones. Windows phones, you can, so just like these touch events, you have pointer events there, which basically, if you start capturing those events, you can do similar things, and that will also work.
Yeah. How do orientations work? So, for example, if I'm orienting my phone into this or like that, can I add extra gestures?
Okay, so orientation change is a different event in itself. So you have to capture that event, and you can do there whatever you want with it.
So can it be changed afterwards? For example,
Yeah. That depends on the code that you want to write.
it is possible.
Yeah, it is possible. Okay, thank you.